Oh, thank you. Pass these down.
I think I was one requesting.
Oh.
You can keep one.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Hey, John. Hey, John. On this, I mean, I'll have you do this because this gets much.
Okay. I can do them all.
Yeah, like some big numbers.
Right. How are you?
Oh, I'm great.
We're gonna keep this thing moving.
And so I'll just have you do it.
Okay.
That might be better. Because I'm not like Jim lost
Vacation.
Oh.
No, surgery or vacation?
You want to go?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. He's my
Is this,
son.
are there lights out? Yeah.
We be rolling. We be rolling.
There we go.
Sammy?
We're missing the other ones too.
I'm ready.
Okay. all
Okay.
right.
We're missing one more.
Oh, yeah.
That's all right.
A pretty big turnout.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
We ready?
Yeah.
I would like to call to order the March 19th regularly scheduled Sylvania Township Board of Trustees meeting at 6 p.m.
Call the roll. Mr. Haddad.
Here.
Mr. Mahoney. Here. Mr. Genowine.
Here.
Simcoe here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was a
approval of the meeting minutes from the March 5th meeting. I know there aren't any minutes presented yet, but I would like the record to reflect in there that there was a misstatement and a false statement made by Mr. Haddad on the illegal activity by Mr. Zeitler and Mr. Mahoney.
There was an inaccurate statement. All I was meaning was the fact that if we're going to, and I will bring it up later on during the meeting, that we need to pass a resolution to continue working with other districts and townships and sharing our services, especially with our liability policy, because I checked with our liability insurance agent today, and he said we should have that passed. That's all I was trying to do. It wasn't anything...
Well, you accused them of breaking the law and being illegal.
I will apologize to that right
Okay.
now, okay? Are you
Okay.
happy? I'll apologize to that, so...
I would like the record to reflect that
There
in
you
the
go.
meeting minutes.
Because I did say that in that statement. I will apologize today because after talking to our prosecutor and what needs to go on, we just should pass a resolution so we can continue business further on. That's all I'm asking you guys.
Well, I think it's a lot of
That's all.
goodwill goes between
That's
us and
fine.
Richfield Center, and
But I want to make sure that we have our liability covered too, in case there was an injury or something, we get charged. That's all, sir. Thank you.
okay, now for the pinning ceremony.
I don't know, Mike, you want to do that?
Procedure.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Fantastic.
Looks like we got a full house. I wonder why everybody's here.
Who's working? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, we're working. It's a tradition in the fire service that whenever we have a promotion, that the individual gets his badge in front of the trustees and in front of his family members. And tonight, we're here to promote Deputy Chief, Lieutenant Mike Graham to Deputy Chief. Mike started his career as a volunteer in 1981. He was down at Station 2. He was appointed to full-time status in 1995 and was promoted to lieutenant in 1999. Mike has, since his promotion, actually since he's been appointed to the department, has worked very hard, strived, and taken a lot of classes to get to the point where he's at today. And I think it's great credit to him and his family, his wife especially, for putting up with all the things that we have to do as chiefs to get to this point as far as the classes go and all the education. Mike's married with 3 children. He has a son, Jason, who's 23, which makes me feel real old because I remember Jason when he's about that tall. Cody, 22, and his daughter, Courtney. I would like his daughter, Courtney, and Mary Ann, and his father, Bert, who, by the way, was an assistant chief at the number 2's fire station as a volunteer years ago, to come up and we'll have the pinning ceremony. Okay, Courtney, don't make him bleed. That's why it takes us chiefs so long to get dressed in the morning. We got a lot of stuff. Congratulations.
Great story. Congrats.
Congratulations, good luck. Why? Okay. All right, I just have, I have 2 other things on the agenda. One of them is the February monthly report. You have it in front of you, and in the essence of, to be brief, I would like to just move towards the next thing that I have on the items on the agenda. I have 2 resolutions pending for the trustees to approve if they so desire. One is we have to go ahead and replace Lieutenant Rand's position with another lieutenant, and I'm asking for a resolution that I be able to promote a lieutenant from the ranks.
Offer Resolution 13-037, authorizing fire chief to promote one of our officers to the rank of lieutenant.
Second.
Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes. And the second resolution I have with Deputy Chief John Lee leaving his post and the promotion of Deputy Chief Ram, I'm asking for a resolution to appoint another full-time firefighter paramedic to the department.
I'll offer Resolution 13-042 to authorize the fire chief to hire a firefighter paramedic.
Second.
Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes. And unless you have anything for me, my work is done here.
Thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
That's okay.
You guys can stay if you want. Stay. Hey, Joe. How you doing? Hey, Joe.
Mr. Wilcox, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Did I see somewhere that you ran into Dean Shadler?
No, it's not designated.
Oh, does he?
So it's not designated.
Wow. Yeah, so not much has changed. It's good to see he's still out there. Yeah, he's always a nice guy, but out there. Yeah. Good to see you. You're welcome.
Michael. Quick picture with him. I'm coming to that.
Okay. Does he want, why don't you just,
I'm on stage.
All right, we'll get a picture with him. Where is he? All right. You got time for one? Yeah. Oh, he's right here. Chief.
Get a picture of the trustee.
Not yet. I think, wait, what's today? March? Maybe we do it this week. You guys were moved out by yesterday.
Yeah, I thought it was today.
Yeah, then they start doing it maybe tomorrow.
Wow. The Yakshimash. Gotcha, yeah.
Is that?
Don't know.
Okay. I haven't had a chance to look at those, Sandy, but I will tomorrow or the next day, I don't know.
Yes. 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 It was perfect. It was perfect. And I got a lot of, no, it shouldn't be, it was kind of fun because I actually, because of my knowledge.
All right.
This meeting might go pretty quick.
Oh, I didn't turn off the tape, but
That's okay. We only spent 4 minutes.
So look at the nut up there.
Night.
John? Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Additions or deletions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Addition.
Do anybody have any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Nope.
Hearing of the public on agenda items?
Nobody signed it?
No? All right. And Darrell, there he is. I was looking for him.
You guys did it to me again, having zoning following the fire department.
It's good.
Tough act to
You
follow.
clear the house.
All I have for tonight is the monthly meeting report for February. The Board of Zoning Appeals had 2 cases. Both of them were for Oak Leaf Village, right down the street here on Holland, Sylvania. The first one is a conditional use. They're putting in, or wish to put in, a memory care facility, so they need a conditional use for a residential care facility in a R4 zone district, and that passed. They also were going for a variance to put up a 6-foot fence around a courtyard around that same building. Because of it being on Holland Sylvania Road, there's a 100-foot setback, and the fence would actually extend a little bit into that setback. Again, that passed. The Zoning Commission had 1 case. It was the 34-unit multifamily dwelling that this board heard 2 weeks ago on 3859 and 3901 McCord Road. That also passed. And then project plan review, we had 2 cases that we reviewed. Again, Oak Leaf Village, they submitted their plans for that. And then Canberra, again, down the street on Holland, Sylvania, they're adding another building to their facility, a 9,500 square foot building. It's actually kind of an interesting story. They were approached by several southern states about relocating down south. And after doing a lot of introspection, they decided rather than moving down there and moving jobs and everything, they were going to stay here in Sylvania Township and add to their facility, so it's a good story all around. On the permits for the month, we had a pretty good month in February. We had 16 total permits, which is right in line with the last 2 years. And as far as property value, it was much better at just under $3.4 million. And that brings us up for the year to date at 44 permits and about $3.8 million. And you'll notice that residential dwellings for the month of February, we had 8 of them compared to 2 for February the previous 2 years. And actually that brings us up to 10 for year to date with a just under $2.4 million value. And I have to go back to 2007 to find a year that we did that well in the first 2 months of the year with new housing permits.
Good.
So again, that seems like we're moving right along with that. And hopefully, as the weather gets warmer, we'll even have more.
Hey, Darrell, thanks for looking back on those. That's interesting stuff.
Oh, sure.
Appreciate it. That's nice of you to do. Appreciate it.
Is there anything
good.
else?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Greg, who's working the computer today, do you have anything for, nothing? You're doing a fine job so far, Greg. The fire department has already been up. Next on is the police department, and Chief Bowman's here with his monthly report.
Good evening. I'll go through this pretty quickly. The numbers are, essentially in front of you there. As far as calls for service, you'll see both on page 2 and page 3 that we had 1,154 calls for police service during the month of February, which brings us to a total that's a little bit less than what we had in 2012. We've written 170 citations so far. You see the parking notices, the warning notices. I might add to that we've, with the little bit, well, not the last couple of days, but with the little better weather and such, we're starting to get the complaints we get every spring about residential areas. And one was Regents Park, and we hit that pretty good in the last couple of days and ended up writing, I think it was about 9 or 10 tickets just in the last few days down there. That seems to be a problem all the time. Property damage accidents, you can see that our total through 2 months is about the same. Injury accidents, I'm happy to report we're down 7. As far as the offense reports, burglaries, we talked about that a lot last year, were considerably lower. Robberies were considerably lower. Domestic violence, which is an unpredictable type crime, is about the same. Assault's the same. OVIs are down because we really haven't run one of our DUI checkpoints up here in the township yet. They had one down in Holland last weekend for St. Patrick's Day, but we'll have them up here soon. Thefts were about the same, and coincidentally, in all the other reports, we're right at the same level that we were in 2012. As far as the detective caseload stats, we assigned 42 cases to detectives in the month of February, of which 24 were cleared, leaving 18 still active. We cleared 27 from prior month's assignments for a total clearance of 51 cases in the month of February. Moving on, community affairs, we continue to have a presence in the schools. Not only are our community affairs officers spending quite a bit of time, especially in the 2 township middle schools, but we're continuing that program that the Sylvania Schools is real happy with, as far as us having road patrol there both in the morning when the kids arrive and in the afternoon when the kids go home, when the schools are most vulnerable because those doors are unlocked and obviously the children are all outside and such. We continue to plan for Safety Township with the fire department. We continue with the ALICE training, and that's pretty much it for, we are going to start a Citizens Police Academy. For the first time in a couple of years, we have the numbers to support that this year. And that is going to start within the next, I think it's the beginning of March. I've neglected to write that date down, so we will have that. Now, the one thing I'd like to take the opportunity to talk about, I don't know if I'm sure you saw it in the news and probably in the paper, but we were able to, through the hard work of Detective Jim Redding, we were able to get a conviction on the murder that occurred July 4th of 2011, just up here off of Brent Road. It was especially rewarding in that it's pretty much unprecedented for a judge to comment in open court about the work of a detective. But I don't know if you saw the Blade article, but I quote from the article, Judge Franks commended Sylvania Township Police, and in particular Detective Jim Redding, for doggedly pursuing Mr. Lyons' killer. Again, that's unheard of. He got several calls from the prosecutor. It was without going into a whole lot of detail, we didn't have an eyewitness. It was circumstantial. He basically worked very hard to uncover a witness that may not have been that credible in the beginning, but was presented the right way, and everything worked out. I mean, this woman is in Judge Frank's next sentence, she's a cold-blooded killer. And so we were able to get a conviction. She received a sentence of 59 years. So with her age, we don't have to worry about her being out on any streets anymore, thankfully. In line with that, I'd just like to read the letter of commendation that I wrote for Detective Redding. It states, on July 4th, 2011, Mr. L.C. Lyons was found murdered in his home. The homicide took on a more ominous tone in that Mr. Lyons was set on fire following his death. Detective Jim Redding was assigned the investigation that would subsequently take over a year and a half to bring to trial. Finally, with incredible diligence and faced with obstacles from many different directions, including tedious search warrants, an odd array of witnesses, and numerous meetings with prosecutors, Detective Redding's hard work paid off when the suspect, Melody Williams, was finally convicted of aggravated murder, aggravated robbery, aggravated arson, and tampering with evidence. She was sentenced to 59 years in prison. Detective Redding, you are commended for an exceptional demonstration of professionalism, dedication, and mostly perseverance. This was a difficult case on many levels. Often the victim of a homicide has led such a life that there will be many suspects. This was part of the challenge you faced. You had, in comparison to many investigations, a weak case. You were able to take all the evidence and information you had and get the most out of it. You were able to present to the prosecutor the best of what you had. The case you presented and your testimony was key in leading to the conviction. Judge Franks recognized this as well. During this investigation, you faced several challenges and still persevered. Congratulations on your success in this case. Thank you for a job well done. So, I'm kind of sorry that everybody left where they couldn't hear that. I was pretty excited when I came and saw the audience, but, yeah,
We'll put that at the end next time.
Yeah, exactly. Good suggestion.
Thanks, Chief.
So, thank you. With that, I'm done if you have any questions or anything.
One thing, a sign of a good manager is a manager that compliments his employees, his staff.
Oh.
You're always the first one. I mean, everybody, but you know what? Keep doing it. It makes what you're doing, builds morale.
Well,
It's a good thing.
thank you. I'm proud of them.
Yeah.
It's a privilege to work with some of the people that I work with. It really is. Thank you very much. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chief. And as you mentioned, on the Regent Parkway, we got an email from a resident out there, and I forwarded it to the chief, and he responded promptly to the resident, and as you can see, he's been out there and getting the speeders, and that's what we do. Next is administrator. I have actually nothing for the board unless they have...
I do. I'm going to offer Resolution 13-043 to authorize the administrator to allow, Greg to use our fire repairmen, our fire equipment repairmen anywhere we need to, because just for liability purposes too, if, something happens or an injury, and he's out there and he's not doing it as our township, I want to make sure that's just covered. So I'd just like a resolution, Susan can write it up into that effect, that we will just make sure that it's just passed, that we authorize you to be able to do that, so that way we have it covered for liability insurance too.
Can we,
Mr. Haddad, you're
Second the
taking...
resolution, we can discuss it. We can discuss, you can vote no on it, just second the resolution.
well, I have a question.
Sure.
I'd like to comment before the...
Sure.
Shouldn't we have publicly put this out if we're going to put resolutions on prior to...
No? You can bring up any resolution anytime
We-
you need.
Help me here, John.
We do not...
Can we or not? I don't...
We
John
can,
Burrell's there.
I'm talking to John,
John Burrell's there.
please, give him respect, let him
I am.
speak.
we can put a resolution on the agenda at any time. This is a public meeting. People-
Okay, okay.
The normal practice is to have it published, but it does not have to be published. It can be done at this
Okay.
time.
Well, moving on.
So nobody wants a second and move on?
I personally don't think it's warranted.
I
We
agree
have
with
a legal opinion here from our attorney, who's also with the Lucas County Prosecutor's Office, and I mean, as long as we don't make this a habit of things, and, I personally was a little disappointed, Mr. Haddad, with all your talk of shared services and stuff, that the first time we actually get a chance to help out a township you want to accuse two of our staff of, violating the law.
No.
And, I mean, I understand, but I don't think passing a resolution is going to keep us from any liability. And I have discussed this with John and Greg about signing a waiver with them if we ever do some work or something. I don't think passing a resolution is going to get us out of liability if something we did causes an
It
accident.
pass the resolution, so it's just on record that we did it.
I don't believe that.
It doesn't alter anything. You can ask an attorney sitting next to you. You can ask
again-
our attorney sitting out there. I'd like to ask John Burrell's opinion if you would like to bring him up here.
I would like to just keep moving on, and I just, again, I was disappointed that
I'm
you
disappointed,
accused
Mr.
two...
Genowine, that you always just don't want to do anything that I feel is necessary to do. But that's okay.
Like
That's your
accusing
opinion.
two of our co-workers
I'm
here
sorry.
of violating the law, you're right, I don't like to do that.
I was in Richfield's meeting, and I heard in the meeting, when I was at the meeting, that they passed a resolution that we had authorized this.
Let's move on.
No, we're discussing stuff, Mr. Mahoney, and that's what we're supposed to do in a meeting, as the three of us. We're supposed to work together. If you had attended meetings and sessions in the OTA, you would learn about team building and working together. And what I'm saying is that I did apologize to you for what I said.
You know what,
But I'm
apologies
saying-
are cheap, Mr.
No, they're
Hannon,
not
when you
cheap.
continue to
If I
accuse
wasn't an apology, I would say
and
it in
make
public.
accusations
We're
and...
here to work
Moving on.
together
Let's-
for the township.
Let's move on.
Where am I at here?
You don't have a comment to make, you're not on.
Next item up is the fiscal officer. Dave, your
Ridiculous.
Well,
financial statements, and I will handle if it's okay with you, I will handle the resolutions.
that'd be fine, 'cause I was on vacation, and Mr. Beck is, I didn't get a chance to meet with him because he's currently recovering from some surgery. and that, and
He's
so-
okay, I hope.
As far as we know.
You okay?
He is fine.
Okay, good.
Not violate HIPAA on
Yeah, I'm
the record.
being very,
Yeah, thanks.
Well, we have the month-end analysis here, it's coming up, and it's still really early in the year. As you, trustees know, our expenditures, I think, are looking good at this point in time. Our revenues are up a bit, but that's because of the way our money comes in. As we get periodic funds from the auditor's office, treasurer's office, that sends us money on tax collections, and they come principally a couple times a year. And so that's why we'll have these large influxes of money, and then the revenue will actually balance out as we move along during the course of the year. The only one that you see is up just a little bit on the expenditures is fire, and that's not alarming at all. They did have a couple of larger payouts for personal protection equipment and a payroll issue, and that will even itself out as we kind of go along. So I think right now, everything looking good at this early time of the year. So unless there's any questions, John?
my first resolution is 13038. It's an increased appropriation from the unencumbered balance. This resolution, before we can, coming up later on, we'll be transferring an advance back to the police fund. Before we can do that, we have to appropriate the money. So this resolution is actually appropriating the money, which later on I will speak to, of paying back the police fund for advance they made to a grant fund to buy bulletproof vests. What we do is we advance them the money, they buy the vest, and then we get reimbursed from the grant. So this is the appropriation from the unappropriated balance.
I'll offer resolution 13-038.
Second.
Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
The next resolution is a reduction in appropriation, and actually this is good news for the general fund. Years and years and years ago, the township agreed with the city of Sylvania to finance the construction of the senior center. So we have a debt, a bond issue that we pay our share of the debt. In that bond issue fund, there is a surplus. Over the years, it's gone up to, there's a surplus of about $74,000. Our annual debt payment's around $90,000. So this year, what we're going to do is we're not going to transfer the full $90,000 to the debt fund. We're only going to transfer around $15,000. So the general fund on one time only, but it is a savings of cash for the general fund this year of $74,566.82. So that's good news, that the general fund will be spending that much less this year.
Fantastic. Offer Resolution 13-039, reduce appropriations from the general fund.
Second.
Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
The next resolution is a transfer and the advance of funds, and the advance of funds is the one I talked about for the police. But in our budget, if you notice these these are large amounts, but this is what was budgeted in the general fund to transfer to the various funds. The $400,000 to the road and bridge fund, that basically covers the the road and bridge fund cannot use highway money for leaf pickup and the brush pickup and so forth. So the general fund supplements that to the tune of $400,000. I like to mention that that is actually a reduction from previous years of $500,000 because we're consolidating what we're doing on the streets.
Offer Resolution 13.
Wait, let me, just a couple others.
I thought you were done.
The big one is, it's $100,000 for the road fund to their capital fund for future projects. I'm just naming the big ones. And $100,000 from the police fund to their capital projects for future needs of maybe building, cars, whatever.
I'm up for it now?
Yeah.
Okay. Offer Resolution 13-040, transfer of advance of funds.
Second.
Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
My last one is a approval of payment of a then and now purchase certificate. Since this is over $3,000, it has to go before the board. And basically what happens, we use eMerge for scanning services, and what happened is the bill that they sent us somehow got, I don't want to say lost in the mail, but by the time it actually got to us, it was past the PO date. And so, since it was past the date, we have to do a then and now certificate.
I'll offer Resolution 13-041, approval payment of then and now purchase certificate.
Second.
Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Hey, John, thank you for, you constantly looking out for ways to save money. I mean, you're good at it. Thank you.
I'm tight.
I know you are. You're great at it. Thank you.
Any other discussions from here? Anyone sign in for hearing of the public on non-agenda?
No.
Okay. I would like to offer a motion to go into executive session at 6:31.
Second.
And this is for litigation.
Sorry, this is to discuss litigation with KME.
Thank you for correcting him.
Okay, Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
As long as I'm on the record doing the right thing.
Back in your step.
Yeah.
Just because Beck's not here?
Now we're good.
No? All right.
Okay.
All right.
I would like to offer a motion to come out of executive session at 6:44.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes. At this time, we will be taking no action, so I would like to offer a motion to adjourn at 6:45.
Second.
Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Thank you.
Return.
That's what this is.
Hello.